Uh, there's a good portion
of the Phil's Detractor community that likes me, but there's also a portion that despises me. The reason why is that they consider me a dent. I used to be a member of his. I used to send lighthearted super chats to get a rise out of Phil. Nothing bad, but it did work, and it made for great comedy. They're like losing their minds with this documentary. They're losing their fucking minds. If anything, I ain't gonna do anything to fuck up the documentary at all. Maybe it'll show Phil in a whole new light. But here's what I think you're really worried about, and you're looking for a scapegoat. You literally, like, yes, I talk about Phil in 90% of my streams, maybe a higher percentage, but if Phil walked away tomorrow, I would have plenty of other things to talk about. Many of these people have nothing but a Phil-dedicated channel. This to them is like them winning an Academy Award, and they're afraid it's not going to happen, and they're looking to point fingers at anybody else. And their problem is that they only talk about Phil. What's going to be talked about quite a bit over the next 6 months?
You ever heard these cases? Be careful of your heroes you want to meet. And I'd say in this case, it's one of the situations where one of the people I wouldn't consider a big hero, but somebody who inspired me, by the name of Review Tech USA. And in the past, he has made vids that I had raised an eyebrow at, questioned, but left it alone. But after his latest vid of talking about us detractors, it had bugged me quite a bit, and I couldn't sit back and not do a video on this. And instead of me flapping my gums, let's just get right into the video.
Drip, snort, snort. I got the drip. Go.
Talk about that in a minute. Because I said it seems like there's some, they were saying that don't ruin it. Like, ruin what?
Rich, what do you mean by don't ruin it? You talking about us really at this point? Because no detractor is going to want this documentary ruined. So I don't know why you even think it like that.
You talk about every fart that comes out of Phil's ass.
One thing you and Phil seem to have some strange comment is with these scat jokes. Now, don't get me wrong. I've done a couple of them in the past, here and there, at the right moment. But I've noticed both of them have been doing it pretty often.
Saying something. If anyone's going to ruin it, it's going to be you fucking clowns.
And how are we going to ruin it, Rich? I mean, we already getting Mike advice on how to do the documentary, and we already told him, like, look, make it fair, make it down the middle. Do not give Phil a puff piece.
But like I said, I have an announcement coming soon. Oh, man. Well, I know something of it is that I know there's some people who exist. They hate Phil to an unhealthy degree.
Rich, I definitely do hate Phil, but not to the degree you're talking about. Majority of the times when I'm on YouTube, yeah, I'll watch some of his vids via Duty or Snort Memeology, but majority of the times I watch other stuff like Audit and talking about police stuff, to watching gaming channels, cooking and stuff, even fishing channels. I watch a lot of that stuff, Rich. Actually, to be fair and honest, I may watch Phil 20% of the time on YouTube, and when I'm not on YouTube, when I'm not, playing games or whatever, I'm either at work or I'm out doing stuff outdoors, such as fishing, camping, and stuff. There's more things that I do than talk about Phil.
Just as bad, if not worse, than Phil's dents.
And how in the world we are bad as Phil's dents? We don't sit there and give money to Phil. We don't do all that stuff. So how does that comparison even work? We pretty much only talk about Phil whenever he has a bad takes. I guarantee you, majority of the detractors, when they make a vid, they try to move on to other things. However, Phil makes it a very bad habit of doing something stupid that we have to cover.
And they're like so caught up in their hatred of him, they don't even fucking realize it. Who the fuck? All I hear about is Jack Doherty now. He's another one of those fucking dudes with a mushroom head. He has that mushroom fucking hairstyle. That's one of those hairstyles that's going to be like, oh, that was so 2024. I'm telling you. Like,
Rich, there's a lot of hairstyles that were used way back in the day, forgotten, and come back made anew. Like, for example, I had locks, dreadlocks. They're kind of popular a little bit now, and they're kind of fading out just a little bit. But way back in the day, they weren't popular then. And if you go beforehand, they were popular to a certain culture, died out, and then came back. It always happens, Rich. One style goes for, does well, fades off, and then is brought right back into the fold.
look back at other hairstyles. Oh, that was so 90s. That was so 2000s. Remember in like the 2000s with the Jersey Shore shit when dudes would like put like 5 gallons of gel in their hair to make it look like they had an upside down dick mushroom on their heads? It was called a blowout or something like that.
Try to relax your anus.
Is there such a thing as too many breasts? No. Thank you for being a member. Well, here is the thing. I'm going to repeat this again. Like, I can't stand Pat the NES Punk. I think
I'm not a fan of Pat NES neither. I don't really hate to do it. I'm just not a fan of him. But anyways, you're kind of, you know what? I'm going to let you just get to the point.
pretentious, arrogant, narcissistic, sensitive dick. But if someone goes, hey, Rich, I'm going to give my entire life savings to Pat the NES Punk. Okay. Like
That would be the most stupidest thing for somebody to do, to give their entire life savings to one person. Now, if I were to stray and somebody say, hey, Vanguard, I want to give you my whole paycheck, I would stop and immediately say, no, keep your paycheck. You need to take care of what's going on in real life. I'll be fine. I know you're going with this, Rich. I know you're going. You'll talk about how we talk about his dents giving him money.
Would it be like, that's it, you're now my enemy? You have supported the enemy. You are a traitor. Like, get fucking lives. Leave the house. Do something. Like, that's where it's different.
I decided to let him talk a little bit further, but I just told you what I do. I even told you that in your streams. Come on, my man.
You and I are not the same. Like, it ain't that serious to me.
Show that's so fucking boring. You do reaction clips to it every fucking night. We can't be that fucking boring.
Go through my streams right now. Hey, Jay, I should call him right now. Jay,
Dude,
we do nothing
it's
but talk about
hyperbole.
stuttering Craig. We do
No,
nothing at all.
You stopped after.
I hate to admit it, but I agree, we are not the same. There's been a few times the past couple years you've been having these weird moments where you have sort of a meltdown. Me, on the other hand, I don't really have that when I'm on somebody's stream or whatever. I just have fun there, buddy.
Like, you wake up in the morning and, like, plot what you're going to do to Phil. It's bizarre. Like, that's your reason for existing. Some of them.
Again, Rich, majority of us detractors don't even think like that. We make one video on Phil and pretty much try to move on to other stuff. He posted something stupid and we had to respond to it because how ridiculous it is.
Okay? There's a good portion of the detractor community that's not out of their fucking minds. That are just like me.
There are some that were like you, but after this latest vid that you done, or should I say, this latest hot take, a lot of them are now starting to say, you know what, Rich, we need to have a serious talk because you're taking things out of proportion. Prime example, Inviga.
Does Rich not understand that the majority of the detractors in the group, they actually have lives outside of this? Does he not understand that we disconnect from Phil? We talk about Phil every once in a while. We'll make content on Phil, but at the end of it, we're not leaving and thinking about Phil when we go to bed. We're not thinking about Phil whenever we go to the grocery store or go on dates or having sex with somebody. We're not thinking about him 24/7. Instead, we're here to laugh at Phil. We're here to laugh at the lolcows that come out of nowhere. We're here to laugh. And we're here to inform. And we're here to entertain. We're here to do all of that. At the end of it, turn off, leave. The answer to that question is no. Yeah, exactly. That's the great answer. It's nope.
Please clap.
You know what I mean? Like,
Try to relax your anus.
Actually, let me clarify with Nviga. He's not like the biggest fan of Rich, but he really didn't do a video of Rich for a while until Rich had this hot take. So let me clear that up.
Streets of Ropes. Yeah, Axel, I think it's his name, right? Axel Blaze. He's going to just comment everybody. Richard Stallion, you took down Berlin Burnell, but now we enter the Detractor Cold War.
What Cold War? There is no Cold War. We're just only at war with Phil because he declared war on us a long time ago. You know that.
It's just like, dude, my thing is this, and it's going to sound like a whataboutism, but it's not. Like, oh, he's tricking his dents into giving him money. You don't really care.
Here's the thing, Rich, and you said this before. The only reason why we talk about him and his money is because Phil has made it his business telling us about his financial woes. That's the reason why we try to tell his dents, do not give this dude money. He's fine, number one. Number two, when you give him tips and super chats, all this stuff, you feed into his addictions. We know about, again, his DoorDash, his gin, his WWE mobile games. That's the main reason why we tell him that, because for me personally, I like to see Phil get hit financially so he can have a taste of humble pie. I don't want the man to in-game himself. I really don't want to see that. But I do want him to, get a slice of humble pie. Because I know it's going to taste like shit, and that may be the way he'll start to change.
Care at all. Like, if it was really about you being altruistic and trying to be, to protect people, first off, you laugh at the dents that he has. And secondly, if it was about your being the moral fucking police, which is retarded to begin with, why aren't you going after Logan Paul? Why?
Don't get me wrong, Logan Paul, he's another asshole. But there's one thing Logan Paul doesn't do. He does not beg on the daily basis. Phil does. We know Phil has money, but he loves to beg. And don't get me wrong, I'm certainly sure Logan Paul has his vices. We have seen a couple of those over the course of, 2 or 3 years. And he's another dirty bastard. But again, he doesn't beg on a daily basis. He works for, if I'm not mistaken, WWE, so he's making plenty of money there.
Why aren't you going after the completionist who sat there looking like a black-bearded Santa Claus holding a dog to look pathetic after what he did? It's just because you don't like him, which is fine. You don't have to like Phil. You could despise him.
Again, it's because he begs on a daily basis. If he would have stopped begging, a lot of us wouldn't care too much at that point.
You don't get to dictate what he makes a living on doing. You don't.
Actually, we do. We do, because you want to know why? He puts his woes out there. Again, I said this before, and I'm going to say it one more time. When you make your financial woes known on social media, guess what? People are going to clap back. That's what we've been doing to him. I'll give you credit, Rich. You don't make your financial woes known on YouTube. He does.
You don't get that right. I don't get that right to do that to anybody. And if you think that you do, that's when you jump off the boat. You've lost the fucking plot.
No, I have not lost the plot. The plot has just thickening even more, especially with Phil's latest rebrand of KO Gaming to his throwbacks of his days where in the past, his past videos where he makes those racial comments, and believe me, he's going to do it again. It's going to be a moment once he slips up.
But they don't get that. They don't understand that. It's their obsession with him stems beyond the humor. It's like,
I am not obsessed with Phil. He's a fascinating person and a train wreck and a modern sitcom that I do enjoy watching. But I'm nowhere close to obsessed with this person. If I'm not mistaken, Rich, in one of your previous live streams, did you sort of have Phil on your PC as your PC background? I do remember that.
Some of them are fucking, you're going to use the word again, you're retarded. He makes content that you make money off of, you numbnuts.
Rich, first and foremost, I don't make any money off of Phil. I have a full-time job, and I'm happy with that. And let's say I were to make a little money off him, okay, that's nice, whatever. But guess what? He's not the only lolcow on YouTube. You have Wings, you have Boogie, You have I wouldn't say the courting. Who else I'm starting to think has become more of a locale? Oh, J-Dub, who's also on freaking Twitter. That dude's starting to become a bit more of a locale. And not only that, for me, Rich, I like to go after fanboys on Twitter too. So no, there's more other people who will continue to go after, not just Phil alone.
Wow, you're biting your own hand that feeds you.
No. None of them aren't. Trust me, I can tell you that. There's been plenty of them I talked to. They have full-time jobs. They don't care what happens to Phil or not.
God, I wish I had Seltzer here. I don't. However... Oh, so we're at over 500 people. Hello, everybody. Rich of Review Tech USA. And by the way, this does not include every detractor. It doesn't. I've made that abundantly clear from the beginning. You're not all like this. Duty streams ain't like...
I'm going to cut you right there, Rich. If you're saying not all detractors are like this, why could you just say you don't agree with some detractors and just left at that instead of going to this rant, I want to say, because it seems like you're taking shots, but at the same time, you don't want too many people clapping on to you that you're cool with. You can't have it both ways, Rich. If you're going to clap on this, you're going to have people that's going to make vids on you. And let me make this publicly crystal clear in case you do watch my vid. This is not me attacking you. This is not me, saying you're a bad person. I believe you're not a bad person. You have moments, you do. But this is what I consider sort of a light spanking. And the last person that kind of did that, and they didn't want to create no war with you or have any beef with you, I believe it was Fatanga Plays that did that to you, a year or two ago? I'll have to look into that a little bit later, but yeah.
Look, Rich, I know both of us participate in consuming insanely large quantities of cannabis, but as a drug fiend, I'm asking you,
Politely yet firmly.
stop doing weed. It's too late for someone like you. Your brain can't handle the THC, and you quickly start making some terrible decisions, like embarrassing all other 40-year-old men by yelling about internet drama in a public food court.
Snort Hogan, I know, made a video on me too, but that's okay. He's entitled to. I would be a giant pussy and a hypocrite to say that I talk about shit about people every day. You know what I mean?
You have talked shit about the people, such as the Corday when he has his moments. What was it, DK Oli's, which you done a great job of, Rich. I really give you credit for that. But when you have takes like these, again, there's gonna be videos gonna be made on you. And another thing I'll give you credit for that you held your own against a certain, as I call him, Child TV. Yeah, that whole saga that's still ongoing.
Most of the detractors this does not even refer to. It's that subset of heavily obsessed weirdos is what I'm talking about. Like, you want to sniff a fart out of Phil's ass?
I'm gonna leave certain. I believe there might be one or two or three that you might be talking about. You're not gonna name drop them, that's fine. But the ones again that I've interacted, talked to, such as again Aviga, Aquatil, 007, they're not obsessed to Phil, and I even go as far as get credit. Even Chill Murray is not obsessed with Phil. Yes, he loves to trash him. It's fun, exciting, but they have other things that they do. It's not even that deep, Rich.
And describe the flavor of it while Cat's crying in a corner. And don't get what I'm saying twisted. You could make as many videos on Phil as you want to. You know my stance on that.
Oh, I know. And even if your stance change, that's not gonna change with me. I'm still gonna make vids on Phil because I find it fun. It's entertaining to me. And the people that watch my vids, they enjoy it as much as I enjoy it.
But I'm going to show you something. Show you something here real quick.
Okay, well, show me. I'm interested. Or should I say I'm willing to watch and listen?
Soundboard, there's something weird about it. It's going to take a minute.
I'm not going to put it in a bottle and breastfeed it to you.
See if you notice something.
Try to relax your anus, your shoulders.
Focus on your sexy, bro.
I'm actually gonna cut that whole part out because it's probably gonna be a little long, but I think I know what he did. As if you notice, ladies and gentlemen, he's already gone to what, 3 or 4 buttons of soundbite? Not one of them has Phil on it.
Here is what I'm gonna do.
And again, I wanted to say from that, but what he pretty much wanted to demonstrate that he took all of Phil's soundbite off his thing there, which, okay, fine, whatever, that doesn't bother me one bit.
Until one of two things happen. I mean, I'm sure people will bring up something stupid in a super chat that Phil has done. Rich, Phil stuck his dick in an electrical socket by accident while he was waiting for shrimp, looking at his wall.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, Phil might do that because he has done ridiculous things in the past.
It's funny, I'll talk about that, but I'm not going to have Phil dedicated streams, or I'm not going to watch Phil dedicated videos until 1, the documentary comes out, or 2, he bails. Which
honestly, Rich, that's probably going to be a year from now. And a part of me feels like you may hold your word. I feel like you're going to hold your word. But then at some point in time, you're going to want to come right back into it, watching Phil again. It's not going to be a full-blown dedication to him, but a good chunk of that stream is going to be dedicated to Phil some way or somehow.
Be what happens. He has surprised us before, but he's already saying and hinting, like he said, oh, Keemstar's not involved. If he was involved, I would drop out. And he said, I have to have final approval before it's released. Do you think anything about him that's damning he's going to allow to be approved?
And if that's the case, then guess what? Then it will be a puff piece and we'll call Mike out. And if that's what Phil wants to do, I will tell Mike, then just don't do the documentary. Okay, it has to be fair, it has to be down the middle, because even even Phil said that there's going to be some good points, there's going to be some bad points. And I'm like, okay, Phil, if that's going to be the case, make it fair. Let him do the documentary, okay? Because it really would help him out in some way. Actually, both Phil and Mike out.
So, there we go. Final cut.
And I'm not going to tell you what to do, Rich, but in my humble opinion, brother, I know there's been a lot going on you. I won't say what it is, but I think you need to take a break from the weed, man, because I'm really thinking it's really affecting you in some sort of way. Just take a break from it. And I tell you, don't do it. Just take a little break from it. That's all I'm saying, Rich.
Because here's what I want to see happen. I want to see, there's plenty of other stuff out there. There's so much. So much. Now, there is some mixed things on that. That is something, that is a loose end we will tie up. Allegedly, that was a purposeful troll video that the Dent made
Try to
it
relax
purposely
your anus.
bad. Which, okay, that is pretty interesting if they did that.
I think I know who he's talking about. I'm going to let him say his piece a little bit longer.
Yes, thank you. Well, we'll see if the documentary or he cancels. One of the two things.
I believe the documentary is going to happen because he has mentioned this far too many times. If he were to pull out, he would have done so by now.
I want to see it happen. And you guys know that if the documentary is fair and puts Phil in the light that he should be in, meaning that it shows both the good and the really good and really bad, I'll be like, all right, he showed the full scope. But if it ends up being a propaganda piece for Phil, you damn well know that I will be like, nah, this isn't it, Chief.
Yeah, so will I, Rich. So will I will be making a vid on Mike if he does not do this documentary, make it fair.
So, look, man, at the end of the day, to the Phil detractors who think this, you don't get to dictate what anybody does with their money. You could think whatever you want.
Here's the thing, Rich, and I'm going to address this one more time. If they make it publicly known and beg, then yes, we're going to say something about it.
And that time will come again, Caldo Head. Then Phil, if Phil won't have say in the final cut, Phil won't do the documentary.
I'm certainly sure Mike is aware of that. He's somehow going to convince Phil to do his documentary, he'll still say, hey, yeah, you still got some final word, but let's do this and let's do that. I'm certainly sure he's going to find a way to convince Phil.
He's not looking at this as a documentary. He's looking at this as a fucking...
Yeah, as a fucking puzzle piece. We know about that.
So, Keldo Head, there is many other things on this planet that are very interesting to talk about. I have many other takes to give. We'll be doing, like, the Grand Theft Auto streams too soon.
Which is fine. And I'm also going to say this, Rich. Again, I'm not going to unsub from you. I'm not going to stop supporting you, because I will, because, again, I think you're a pretty cool, decent person. But if you keep doing this, then I will stop, because I don't know why you thought this was a great idea. All you could have said was there's some detractors you just don't agree with. Said your little part and kept it moving, having this little, well, I wouldn't say long hot take, but a pretty decent hot take. And for anybody that does watch my my stuff and all that stuff, please do not go and harass Rich. Again, this is not me personally attacking him, whatever. It's not me going at him. This is just me giving him a simple love tap. In other words, like, dude, stop it, chill out.
L5, sorry, Jay will be here. We'll be doing plenty of things. I will be fucking a bear in Baldur's Gate 3.
I would highly advise you not to stream that unless you want to get a similar treatment that unfortunately Mischief had a while ago. Thank God that got cleared up. But in your case, Rich, you already have one, what is it, not community, whatever, that sort of strike that on your main channel that you can't get removed. That happened a long time ago.
Or the bear will be fucking me. Who knows? And there's so many other
Try to relax your anus.
I don't know. The internet is weird. Hate to interrupt. Maybe you can cover that Cyrax doc that Turkey Tom made. I have some stuff already lined up here. Not sure if you covered it yet, Tom or the other doc guy. Well, we'll talk about May 1st.
We all been talking about May 1st, even I. That's kind of been pretty much beaten in it if you're still going to talk about how Phil fap, unless there's something else on May 1st that I'm not aware of.
Richie, I gave 15 minutes on your DS. Also, it's not rehab. It ain't rehab. I'll still watch Phil shit on the side. But I want this documentary to be made.
Which you have every right to. If you want to watch DSP, go ahead. Watch him on the side if you want. I'm just saying, don't be watching DSP, stream him a little bit here and then, and have these hot takes and not expect people to clap back.
Also, give me a few 5-sound combo on the soundboard. Sure.
Ban Amber Heard's turd, please.
Look here! Look, listen! Men's asses!
I'm going to end it right there, because majority of it's probably going to be dealing with the soundboard and stuff, whatever. And maybe him, saying a couple of things, talk about Phil. But I already said my piece. And once again, Rich, I want you to listen to me. This is not me attacking you. This is me giving you a little love tap. Again, if it wasn't for you in duty, I wouldn't know anything about DSP. I'm still giving you credit for that. But you need to stop having these hot takes. There's a good reason why I'm not on your live stream as often as I did last year. But anyways, guys and girls, that'll be it. That's just my only take I want to give on Rich. I'm going to get right back to making videos on Phil, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take it easy.